Kyoto, the ancient heart of Japan. A city steeped in history, tradition, and unmatched beauty. Known for its serene temples, historic alleys, and timeless grace, Kyoto is a sanctuary of culture and creativity. But on a quiet summer morning in 2019, that peace was shattered by an unspeakable act of violence. An attack that claimed 36 lives, injured 34 more, and left a deep searing scar on the soul of a nation. It was a tragedy of unimaginable proportions, one that shocked a country known for its safety and cultural serenity.
33 people have died after an arson attack at an animation studio in the Japanese city of Kyoto. Authorities have detained a suspect after he entered the building and doused it with a flammable liquid.
It sent ripples across the world, devastating fans, artists, and communities who had been touched by Kyoto Animation's legacy. This horrifying event is now known as the Kyoto Animation Arson Attack, and the man behind it, Shinji Aoba, will forever be remembered as the one who turned a place of beauty into a scene of horror. Founded in 1985 by Yoko and Hideyoki Hata, Kyoto Animation, known affectionately as KyoAni, was a beacon in the anime industry. Unlike many studios, KyoAni paid its artists fair wages, nurtured in-house talent, and fostered a positive, familial working environment. The studio was celebrated for its emotionally rich stories and meticulous artistry. Titles like Violet Evergarden, Clannad, Hyuka, and A Silent Voice moved millions worldwide. Their works didn't just entertain, they offered introspection, capturing the delicate moments of everyday life with breathtaking visual beauty. 41-year-old Shinji Aoba was a troubled individual with a deeply fractured psyche. Aoba lived a life marked by isolation, poverty, and resentment. He had a criminal record, including a robbery conviction for which he served time. He struggled with mental illness, particularly delusional disorder and paranoid thoughts, and had previously exhibited violent tendencies. Aoba believed Kyoto Animation had stolen a story idea he submitted to one of their writing contests. The piece he submitted was reportedly a dark fantasy-themed novel with dystopian elements and a protagonist who sought revenge on an oppressive system. In reality, his manuscript had been rejected during the first round of evaluation due to poor quality and lack of originality. There was no evidence of plagiarism, and Kyoto Animation maintained that their works bore no resemblance to Aoba's submission. However, Aoba became increasingly obsessed with the idea that the studio had exploited his work without credit. He fixated on perceived similarities in character themes and plot lines in some of KyoAni's newer projects, particularly scenes that he believed paralleled his story. This perceived injustice festered in his mind for years. His motive was driven by a delusional desire for revenge. In his mind, destroying Kyoto Animation was the only way to make them pay for what he believed they had done to him, and so he boarded a train from Tokyo and headed for Kyoto. It was just after 10:30 a.m. when Shinji Aoba arrived at Studio 1 of Kyoto Animation in Kyoto's Fushimi ward. Carrying nearly 40 liters of gasoline in 2 canisters, he stormed into the building and doused the ground floor and stairwell with fuel. Witnesses say he shouted "Die" before lighting the fire with a lighter. In seconds, flames and black smoke engulfed the studio. The blaze tore through the 3-story building, fueled by the open stairwell that acted like a chimney, trapping dozens of staff inside and cutting off escape routes. The fire alarms went off instantly, and local residents reported hearing multiple explosions caused by the ignition of gasoline vapors and office equipment. Firefighters arrived within 5 minutes of the first emergency call, but the stairwell and windows acted as chimneys, rapidly spreading smoke and heat. Some employees managed to escape by smashing windows or climbing onto the roof, while neighbors rushed with ladders to help and attempted to spray water from garden hoses. Others attempted to flee up the stairs but were overcome by heat and toxic smoke. In the end, 36 lives were lost and 34 more were injured, including Aoba himself. Among the fatalities, many were found on the stairwell leading to the roof, just meters from safety, with some tragically succumbing to smoke inhalation before reaching the final door. Forensic teams later confirmed that most victims died from a combination of burns and toxic smoke. The fire was the deadliest mass killing in Japan since World War II, leaving behind a scene of charred ruin, an industry in mourning, and a nation in shock, with memorials springing up across Kyoto and worldwide tributes flooding social media and anime communities. Aoba tried to flee the scene but was apprehended nearby, badly burned. He spent months in hospital before facing arrest and trial. He later admitted guilt, citing his belief of plagiarism as the motive. Despite pleas for mental incompetence, the court ruled him fit to stand trial. Experts testified that while Aoba suffered from delusions, he was capable of understanding the nature and consequences of his actions. His behavior leading up to the attack, such as carefully purchasing gasoline, planning the arson, and selecting the target, demonstrated clear premeditation. On January 25, 2024, he was sentenced to death. His actions were declared calculated, cruel, and irredeemable. The victims were artists, storytellers, animators, many of them young, some at the very start of their careers. Among them were directors like Yasuhiro Takemoto and character designer Futoshi Nishida. They brought joy, empathy, and beauty into the world through their craft. The outpouring of grief and solidarity was global. Millions donated to help the survivors and the families. Tributes came from every corner of the industry. Kyoto Animation vowed to rebuild. And in time, they did. Kyoto Animation continues to create, carrying forward its legacy with strength and determination. The fire that tried to destroy it could not erase its influence or the passion of those who remain. This tragedy was not only a story of loss, but also of resilience and remembrance. To those we lost, your work and stories live on.